We are heading back to Leh, but on a different road. This runs parallel to the Manali-Leh highway, and you can see a lot of trees planted on both sides of the road by the Drukpa Rinpoche. At Stakna, we take a right and get back to the Manali-Leh highway, and there is also a monastery in Stakna as well. If you want to experience glamping in Leh, there's a property called TUTC Chamba Camp near Thikse. It's extremely luxury and costs around 60 to 70,000 for a night, all inclusive. We are on our way to the Nubra Valley via the famed Khardungla Pass. Khardungla was once the highest motorable pass in the world, but now I guess it's the second or third highest. There's a new structure being built in Leh on the way to Khardungla on the lines of Shanti Stupa, but a bit grander. To enter some areas in Ladakh, you need permits, and Khardungla is one of them. This is South Pulu, a checkpost where your permit is checked. It takes some 45 minutes to reach here from Leh and another 45 minutes to Khardungla top from here. The road condition from Leh till here is very good, but from here to Khardungla top it's bad. There are small restaurants here serving hot Maggi, samosas and biscuits amongst other things. There's also a washroom which charges 10 rupees per person and is not that good. So this is the Khardungla top. We couldn't get good views from the top as it was very cloudy. And just look at the number of Innovas here. There's literally no other cars. Cycling down from the Khardungla to Leh is very surreal experience and I would say a must do. The roads are winding and slopey and hence it's slightly dangerous, but the thrill is amazing. The cycles that we get here are all MTBs in good condition and hence safe. You don't get cycles in Khardungla top, but you'll have to arrange for it from Leh itself and they'll bring it to the top and you can cycle down. This is North Pulu, the checkpost on the other side of Khardungla while going towards Nubra Valley. So if you're coming from Nubra Valley, your permits will be checked here. Also, the washrooms here are good. There are small restaurants here too. Near the Nubra Valley, there's a place called Khalsar, from where the road splits into the two arms of Nubra Valley. Apart from Nimmo, rafting also happens at Khalsar on the Shok River, but rapids are minimal. I'll quickly tell you the entry fees at some of the main attractions of Ladakh that we covered. Lamayuru Monastery, the entry fee is 50 rupees. Alchi Monastic Complex is 100 rupees. Thikse Monastery is 30 rupees. Hemis Monastery is 50 rupees for Indians and 100 rupees for foreigners. Hall of Fame is 200 rupees for Indians and 400 rupees for foreigners. Sand dunes at Nubra Valley are good to visit, best for walking around and soaking in the landscape of Nubra Valley. Quad biking and Bactrian camel ride are the prime attraction. There's also archery, which is an important sport in Ladakh. Quad biking is 1000 rupees for a round and camel ride is 300 rupees for 15 minutes, 450 for half an hour and 800 for an hour. The sand dunes and camel ride I talked about was at Hundar, that lies on one of the arms of Nubra. There are also sand dunes at Sumur, which lies on the other arm, and all the activities happen there as well. Technically, the sand dunes in Nubra Valley is a part of the highest desert in the world called Katpana Desert, which stretches from Khaplu Valley in POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, to Nubra Valley in Ladakh. This is a huge statue of a seated Maitreya Buddha at Diskit. It is 106 feet tall and covered with 8 kilograms of gold. This statue was built with 3 aims: 1. Protection of Diskit village, 2. Prevention of further war with Pakistan, and 3. To promote world peace. Nubra Valley is quite a remote place, and hence a lot of things are unavailable readily. So if you need a cake, you'll have to pre-order the cake at your hotel. Also, there is only 3.5 hours of electricity a day in the valley, but hotels have generator, so they have 24-hour electricity. Smoking is banned in Nubra Valley. Both selling and smoking cigarette in public is prohibited. So if you want to smoke, you'll have to carry cigarettes from Leh itself. Glamping in Nubra Valley happens at 2 properties that I know of. One is Desert Himalaya and the other one is TUTC. Both are in Diskit. Desert Himalayas also have caravan stays. This is not a river crossing activity but a case of a missing road. Yes, as the snow melts at the adjacent mountains, the water comes down in great force, bringing stones and pebbles along with it and covering the entire section of the road. This is on the way to Turtuk, the last village of India from the Nubra side. Snow melting causes such problems and it can eat a lot of your travelling time. Hence, you should always consider buffer time while planning the excursions. Road to Turtuk is a little dangerous as there are mountains with falling rocks, and hence we have to keep an eye on the mountains to see if any stones or rocks are falling. Turtuk is some 85 kilometers from Hundar and takes more than 2 hours to reach. That is, the road is proper and there is no disruption. In our case, we took more than 3 hours as we were stuck. 15 kilometers from Turtuk, there is a place called Takshi, and from there you can see the line of control. On reaching Turtuk, you have to cross a bridge to enter the village, and below the bridge flows a stream of fresh water coming from the melting glacier above. Let's hear the sound of it. We returned from Turtuk the same day and stayed at Sumur for the night. Now we are heading towards Pangong Lake, another must-visit location in Ladakh. You can directly go to Pangong from Nubra Valley via 2 ways. One is from the Shok village and the other is from Warila, which is longer. The first option is the most preferred and the ride is alongside the Shok River. This route doesn't have any high passes and is fairly flat. One drawback though is that the road may be washed away by melting waters from the nearby mountain, or the road may also be closed due to the swelling of the Shok River. So when you reach Agam, which is the junction from where you choose any one of the route, just ask the villagers if the road is open and drivable. If it is not, then you can go via Warila, which has 2 high passes and will take much longer to reach the Pangong Lake. Again, going to Pangong requires a permit which will be checked at the Shok village. The village also has washrooms, restaurants and homestays. Even Durbuk, which is approximately 45 minutes from here, has restaurants and washrooms. But the best washrooms on this road is a little ahead of Agam, built by the Border Road Organization. Between Agam and Shok, there are few points where the road is washed away by the waters coming from the adjacent mountains. Hence, it's good to avoid sedans and hatchbacks. SUVs are better and it's best if it has a high ground clearance and a 4-wheel drive.